It's about that time, everyone. What's up? I know most people are going to DEF CON, but you know what? I'm going to keep slumming it with you guys here on Twitch. Maybe I'll head out to DEF CON next year, but definitely not making it this year because it's already happening. That's part of the big reason why. All right, let's kick it off. Doo-doo, doo-doo. What's up, everyone? I hope everybody is having a fantastic Saturday. Had a pretty good one. Well, actually, it started out kind of crappy. I got up super early this morning. I went over to go help my father-in-law. We were going to go out to the MX track, or motocross track, and go clean it up. We built this giant cross-country track. It cuts through the woods. It goes down near a creek. It's awesome. It's great for the kids. But it's by a creek and it floods. So we're going to go excavate a big tube, basically, to put in something akin to a French drain to drain all the water out of that area so we can go ride it. We get there, father-in-law's truck. My father-in-law's truck is dead. He had left the lights on overnight and the battery was toast. And it's a big truck. It's like a what is that? It's like a Ram 5500. Not even the 3500. So the big ones you see, this is a 5500. Takes 2 giant batteries, and it just took all day to charge. We couldn't make it out to the track today. All right. On the plus side, though, after a little more coaxing and trying to figure out how to make this work, I was actually able to take the code I had written for the browser agent, coax Claude along to get a workable copy where we do now have a persistent browser. So what I was thinking about doing, though, is I'm actually going to split that code out into its own repo. I'm going to move it over. And the reason for that is because eventually that's going to be the end goal. All the specialty agents will basically be graphs that you can come and import. So I'd rather get that scaffolded up a little bit right now and work on it that way than trying to combine everything into a single giant code base. So let's see here. So I actually need to go make a quick adjustment over to here. And what we're going to do is everything inside specialty agents is now going to be ignored. So we're going to get, and we're going to tell it add to ignore. What's the difference between these things? That's our get ignore. Hey, what's up, Marky? Shut up, baby. I don't know what. Yeah, there we go. So everything inside specialty agents, we're not going to commit. Actually, I take that back. Well, maybe not. Let me think about this. Yeah, we don't really need the init py in here. I can take this out. Yeah, let's get rid of this. We'll just delete that little guy right there. Because eventually what we're going to do here is every folder that gets dropped in here, we're going to have another script. When everything loads up, it's going to come check all of these, and then it's going to automatically import them. Ooh, we playing the Battlefield 6 beta? How's it going, man? I hope it's going to be good, dude. I really liked, what was the other one? Was it 2042? Yeah. That one we were we'd go play, and that one was pretty fun. It had some weird bugs in it, but it wasn't bad. Let's see. All right, I think I got all that going now. So what I did is actually started working on a README, and it's just straight generated from Claude up in here. So we're taking all this, and this entire folder is going to be its own GitHub repo. So we'll set this up as like the initial commit of up into GitHub. And in fact, I think right now even no, don't commit. Where am I? Let's see. Yeah, because I'm in the browser use agent branch. And I'll have to double check and see, like, have I made any other changes aside from what's in here? I don't think I have. But everything we've been doing has been isolated to this. And like I said, eventually, these specialty agents, we're just going to drop them all into this folder. And it's going to iterate over them, figure out what they are, and then kind of import. So, let's take a look here real quick. So what's happening now in... Here, actually, I don't really want all this up in here. Yeah, let me refactor this real quick. Make this, main. There we go. So that's going to be our new main function right here. And all this does is it comes through and it simulates graphed exercises in here. Actually, I found a really awesome website. This one, Automation Exercise. Check this thing out. It's pretty sick. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Here we go. So it's an entire website designed to look like a store catalog and really great for testing like browser automation. So I had it actually go through and find out like, hey, how to do different things in here. It is pretty good. I haven't seen any lags or glitches in it. But you have to help your teammate when they're down and calling for a medic. Oh, okay. Dude, I like that, though, because that encourages team play, right? I like that stuff. Right. So, let's get back over here. Actually, I'll tell you what. I did start playing a new game. I started playing Half-Life Alyx because I finally got the Valve Index set up. It's been sitting in my closet for 3 years. And that's a really fun game. They did a really good job thinking through the VR mechanics and how you interact with your own gear. I think they did an excellent job on that. I've been enjoying the heck out of it. I'm playing it in what I call kitten mittens mode, which is easy mode. I just want to play for the story, enjoy the mechanics to it. I actually had to adjust the movement because you've got two thumbsticks. So you can use one to have it go forward and you can use another one to rotate. There's actually like 4 different movement options in it. And when I was using the one to like turn it and I wasn't moving, I was getting wicked vertigo. It was messing with my equilibrium. So I had to kind of sit there and tinker with it. I finally got it dialed in so I don't get sick playing the game now. I was playing last night, but none of my teammates on the squad would help me. And even the bots wouldn't pick me up. Bro. That's disrespectful. Let's see. All right, I think we can make this work in here. So one thing we'll have to do actually is, let me run this one more time. Actually, stop. I don't want it to run. Let me change something up here real quick. Because our little test here doesn't quite give us back what we're looking for. Let's see. So we get our result here. No one complete. Because what I want to do is, for this demo, I'm going to update this real quick. So what we're going to say is, we'll say the result, and then we'll say this is going to be result 1. And this is actually going to return a structure to us. So we need to bust out the messages from it. And then what we want to do is get the very last message. And I think it's .con. I think that's it. Let's see. In fact, I'm going to change this. And you know, it's fine. What this is supposed to do is simulate, hey, we've got different nodes in the parent graph, really, which would be different agents, right? Calling this stuff and handing tasks over. So I'm going to drop this in here real quick. I'm going to run another test on this real fast. But it looked like when I was testing it earlier today that it was running really well. It starts up its own Docker container. So right there, see, it started its own browser, initialized. And then we got an error. All right, what's the error? Probably that I referenced the wrong thing. No, that's a weird error. Hold on. No, it wasn't this one. It could be this one right here. What's it doing? Hold on, let me back these changes out real quick. Because this was working earlier today. Let's see, back it up. Back it up. So this should be the function the version that I knew was working. Let me try this one more time. Hold on. One thing it's going to do though is it's going to leave a dangling Docker container, if I remember correctly. Yeah, see that? We got 2 dangling containers. So let me stop those real quick. Let's see, what is this? Browser W and browser M. There we go. Kill those real quick. Try running this one more time. Oh. Okay, hold on. While this is running, give me 1 sec. All right, I'm back. I'm back. Sock had closed the gate, the baby gate that I've got in the office. It doesn't really stop the kids. It's more like just a visual deterrent for them. So they know not to come in the office when I'm doing something. But Peaches was stuck at the gate, and she's like whimpering at it. I was like, all right, fine, go. Leave the office. Sure is taking its sweet time here. Hey, there we go. So the test currently doesn't show like, hey, this is what we've got going on with it. But we can actually see it over here in Langsmith. So you see we get these kind of returns, which we should see 3, right? So this one right here, it says, hey, we're going to go navigate over here and do stuff. So when it comes back, it gets the website, but then we actually have a different call to the agent that comes back over here. So inside here, what we're prompting it for is search for men's jeans on sale. So it's searching the fake catalog. And what's funny is it actually finds them usually and says, oh yeah, here's all the stuff that you wanted. Then later we actually come back to it and ask it to find that. That's actually the one that we give it, but it's in a different spot. So like we just tell it, hey, list the types of jeans for sale. So it's funny because it finds them and returns the list, but really I wanted this from a different spot down here. Let's see. Yep, there they are. So it's funny because it looks like it shows up twice, but that's because the way the output is structured and the way it's saving the state of the conversation. So if we come back over here, what it's actually doing is every time this guy executes, that's our closed browser. Where is it? Here we go. So when our execute task happens, what it does is we actually update the state table with that response state right here. Actually, how is this doing this state table? Let's see. What are we doing the session state? Oh, okay, that's right. Yep. So one thing I've thought about doing in here is currently we're still using, we come up here to the methods. So for the execute task, what we're doing is we're initializing this. Where does this happen? Hold on. Here we go. So this is our create React agent right here, where it does this. I gotta see how this is actually gonna return once we wrap all this up in here. Let's go debug this real quick. Because what I want to see is how does this look when it comes back. So I'm gonna bust it right here because I want to see what this result 1 value is. So let's debug this real quick. Like I said, this was not code that I wrote. I wrote this code over here to get the proof of concept working, and then to fix some of the async IO issues, which I'm not real strong with yet, and to get it into like a let's call it a sustainable state, or to like a more feature-rich state. I use Claude to make that jump over here. Okay, so what is result 1? Just our messages, okay. Let's see. A spare foot. What's up, man? Thank you for coming online. I hope you're having a fantastic Saturday. We are just doing a little AI agent hacking over here. Okay, cool. Yeah, so this is our agent state. So what we want to do is pull out that last one. Yep, I want to put that print statement back in here. So let's do print, let's do a format string. And for results, I'm going to drop this guy right in here. This is going to be result 1. And then, like I said, what we'll do is we're going to pull out messages, and then we're going to get the very last one. So let's get the messages key. And then from messages, we'll get the last message in the array. Except I misspelled messages. There we go. And then I'm going to put the same thing right here. Except this is now going to be result 2. And same thing here, result 3. All right. I'm going to go ahead and stop this, and then I'm going to run it one more time, because I want to see what the results are that come back in here. All right. Uno mas test. Because then what we're going to do is we're going to actually start working on building it out to get it into the rest of the program. So right now it's kind of like a standalone script, really. Oh, dang it. I forgot. I actually wanted to get the contents from it. That's okay. It's okay. We can do this. I don't think it's dot contents. I think it's contents like this. I think that's how we want to do that. Okay, let me go and just stop you. Stop right there. Drop this down. I need more real estate to work. There we go. So we'll drop this right here. We'll drop this one right here. There we go. Now run. Okay. Browser session initialized successfully. Does it need to be dot contents? Hold on. Did I do this properly? I thought I had a dot earlier and it didn't like it. Let's see. Nope, sure didn't like that. What am I missing here? Debug again. Because it had a contents field in there. Dangler. Oh, I must have screwed this up more than I thought. Ah, that's why. Missing a curly bracket. There it goes. All right. A little bit of syntax fixing there. All right, so now we'll let this run. Yeah, so here's our results. Oh, it's not contents, it's content. That's it. I believe it should be like that. You stop you and debug again. Let's see. And the cool thing is, like I said, every time it's doing this, it's starting up its own Docker container for the browsers. It's mounting it over to the Docker volume, so we've got any kind of persistence we want in there. Okay. Go ahead and continue. There we go. Nice. All right, let me stop this. I just needed that one call to hit it so I could double check it. So this needs to be just dot content. Let's go fix these real fast. Boop. Boop. There we go. Hey, Cypher, what's up, man? I'm not saying I'm jealous. I just kind of miss it a little bit. I've seen everybody post pictures from DEF CON up on Zitter, ex-Twitter. It sounds like you're talking like about an ex-girlfriend when you say ex-Twitter, but nobody's going to ever stop calling it Twitter. But or they're, at the very least, they're going to call it the platform formerly known as Twitter. And it cracks me up. But lots of cool pictures out there. I'm looking forward to the news. By the way, no news stream next week because I forgot I'm traveling for work, which sucks because actually I canceled this week's news stream on Tuesday because like, hey, there's not going to be a ton going on. And that was true. It was a very slow news cycle because everybody was waiting to see what was going to come out of Black Hat and DEF CON. I was like, we'll do it next week. Not remembering I'm going to be traveling. So we have a very, very busy news stream the week after. Wait, they were streaming them on Twitch? Dude. Ken, I didn't know that. I didn't even know they were up on YouTube streaming. I mean, they usually will go through and record them and release them later. I've never seen them just straight up live stream it before. Oh, that's cool. Dang it. I could have caught a bunch of them. Actually, I'm waiting for a recording of one particular talk from Black Hat because I was supposed to get a shout out in it. And I want to see if I got the shout out. They streamed live last year too? What was going on last year? What was I doing this time last year that I didn't even know that? Let me think. Okay, so they stream them, then they private it at the end of the day, and then they eventually will get it up on the media server. Gotcha. I am looking forward to checking out some of those talks, though. I haven't been out to DEF CON since 2023, and I'd like to go again. But this year was just not a good year. Let's see. All right, we got this. Let me copy this real quick. Yeah, because what I'm thinking we're going to do is, this is all working. So this is going to get upgraded over to here. This is the current working copy of this. So browser utils, I don't think we even need this anymore. Same thing with the Claude browser. Let's see, so you're going away. Let's just delete you. And then same thing with Claude browser, you're gonna get deleted. Eventually we'll have to nuke this ENV off of here, but that's okay. We are going to have to make some modifications over to this because there's basically going to be, when this gets instantiated, we're not going to have to pass like the environment variables. This ENV file is going to probably go away. I mean, it is going to go. For some reason, the streams on track 1 and 2 are kind of iffy, but tracks 3, 4, and 5 are fine. Yeah, it could be just like you said, they had funky Wi-Fi in there, Ken. Who knows? Actually, I'd be surprised at that because usually DEF CON's pretty solid about not using, like, for all their media streaming, for stuff that I remember, at least for recording, I thought they always use hard lines. But who knows? New venue, new place. The new place they're in, I haven't seen yet. They were still over at, what was it? The Caesars Convention Center, I think, the last time I went. And that place isn't nearly as big as the new venue, whatever that giant place they're in now. Wanted to go, but I just got back to work, so I'm trying to make sure I didn't dig a hole for myself with the vacation. I understand, man. Completely understand. Let's see. All right, so there is something actually we need to do with this. This needs to get renamed. I want to rename this file here. This is going to be... This is just going to be browser.py in here. Actually, let me think about this. Yeah, I'm just going to call this browser. Browser agent working. I'll leave that for now. But now, actually, what I need to do is we need to make a new Python folder in here. And this is actually going to be the browser agent. And you're right, what's the difference here? This is just the stuff to control the actual browser. So believe it or not, we're actually doing something a little bit weird in here. This is going to change once we come through with this. But the browser agent here, when this gets instantiated, is actually going to come through and do a bunch of other stuff. Oh, that's right. They're at the Las Vegas Convention Center now. Yeah. Oh, and you think they've got an in-house crew for all the AV stuff? Gotcha. I wouldn't be surprised because Las Vegas Convention Center's absolutely massive. I always find it funny because one of my work buddies is over there, but he lives in England. And he's posting like, oh, I've got the con crud already. I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure like, you know, sleeping only 5 hours a night, like 4 or 5 hours a night, drinking incredibly too much, and walking like 20,000 steps, and just eating whatever fast food you can get a hold of. That's totally the con crud. Don't get me wrong, yeah, people get sick out there. But not like that. I was like, come on, you're beating yourself down for 3 solid days. Actually, he was doing black hat training, and I think he's staying through DEF CON. So you're talking like 11 days of beating yourself down. Hey, Vandal, what's up, dude? It's super expensive. Dude, I know. If I'm going to DEF CON, it's actually probably going to cut. I have a professional development budget for each year, and that's what it's going to come out of. By the way, if there's any cool conferences coming up, I actually need to start spending my PD budget because I haven't spent it for the year, and I can expense conventions. So if there's any cool cons coming up, let me know. I haven't really been keeping up with the con scene, obviously the last couple years, because I didn't even realize they were streaming it last year. All right. Let's see here. So what we want to do is we want to basically what we're going to do is we're going to wrap all the functionality from the browser. In fact, I'm going to close this one. So all this functionality from our little browser here, right? All this is going to get wrapped up over in the agent. Hey, Nesto, what's up, dude? I didn't see any of the speakers getting interrupted to do shots. Actually, I think they have been taking a little bit less of a let's encourage everybody to just drink all day nonstop approach at DEF CON. So I'm not surprised by that. I think it's optional too. They, you know, it used to be like, oh yeah, you're talking, you do a shot. And now it's like, just, would you like to do a shot? Oh, a lot of the speakers for this year have done it before, so they're not on stream doing the shot. Gotcha. Wait, hold on. The Twitch stream's still on?
Bullshit, I can't hear you. Sound off like you got a pair.
No, it's working. I'm not sure what's up. But anyway, Nesto, I'm glad you found one of the backups. That's weird. Had me worried there for a second, bro. Let's see. All right, so what we want to do here is we're going to basically create a wrapper agent. So this is going to be a bit funky, but I think I still have the diagram of like what I was thinking about for this. Let me see. Yeah, here it is. So essentially, this is kind of like what we're doing right here. Zoom this out a bit. Is that what's going to happen is when we call the browser agent, it's actually going to be calling that React agent kind of under the hood. So we will have a graph for browser, and this is what the other agents are going to call. So that's what we're working on right here, is we're working on this kind of, this will be technically the specialty graph, and then this is just going to be a tool to get the specialty graph to, specialty agent to run. That's weird. Hang on one sec. Let me double check something real fast. We pop into OPSEC mode. Let's see. I'm not sure what's up with that. I'm showing that Twitch is still running just fine. I don't know what's up with that. It's weird. Weird, man. Let's see. Browser agent. All right, so the way I want this to run. I was thinking about one of the things that happens whenever we go through and we execute everything in the graph is the exploit steps get broken down into individual steps, right? Well, the downside to that is when that happens, the browser agent is actually intending to be given a far off task, not like an individual task, and told to go through and do things, right? Let's see. You know, something we'll need to do is actually do like a test upload in here. Let's see if we can find that in here real quick. Hang on. What we need is we need a site where we can do like a test upload. API testing. I actually found a really awesome. This was another one of those like awesome test sites. Let's see if I can find one that lets you upload. Oh, let's see. Zero Bank, try hack me. Supercar Showdown. Let's see. Web testing. Here we go. Let's see. UI Playground. Orange HRM. Let's see if this works. It's supposed to be like a simulated human resource management site. Hey, Shabby, no, you're not slow, man. This is all in Python. So, it's just, you're not seeing any of the code because I'm starting a new file in here. But, yeah, it's all Python. That... Oh, bummer. Is it down? It's either down or just, like, not reachable. Sad. I was hoping to use that. Yeah, no worries, dude. Let's see. E-commerce site. SAP demo. What I want is a site to let me test doing uploads. Hey, Shabby, thank you for coming online, man. Welcome in. I hope everybody's having a fantastic Saturday. It is a good Saturday. I did have to go clean out the chicken coop today. The chickens, they're just such dirty animals. They just crap all over the place. And so I finally had to go in there and go clean out the chicken coop. They were happy though, because what I'll do is I'll take watermelon rinds, right? And I'll freeze them and I'll throw it out there to them. And they love it. They think it's just like a hot summer treat. It was a hot day today too. So they were extra happy to get it. Let's see. Common DOM automations. Actually, does this one have file upload? Ooh, here we go. Hang on one sec. Good job. Because I don't know what's going to show up if I hit this. Okay, that actually worked all right. Perfect. So we can do like a test upload of a file in here. So let me do something. Let's see. I kind of want to take the browser here and give it like a test case of something I want it to do. How do I want to do this? Let me check something real fast here. Let's see. Let me CD over to the Docker volume real quick. So we have browsers, web shells. There's our Diceco PHP. I don't want to use that as a test, actually. I don't want to go to uploading that to a random page. Okay, hold on. We have this file here. One thing the browser agent does not have, though, is it doesn't have any disk I/O operations. So one thing I was thinking is I wanted to do like a test upload of this and see if it worked. So we may need to go add a couple of tools over to this guy. Actually, you know what? We can go. Let's go take a look at something. Because whenever we make this call, right, all the tools get put up here. Let me see. I thought there was like a file upload. Yeah, here we go. So for file upload, description needs the absolute path of the file to upload. Could be a single file or multiple files. Okay. Now I wonder how it's doing that on the back end. I mean, heck, actually, you know what we can do? Why am I making this so hard? Probably have to log back in because I haven't logged in to try hacking it forever. Let me bring up the test box. Yeah, damn it. Hang on. Let me log in. TryHackMe's interface can be a bit touchy, but it's a good platform. There we go. All right, so let's back up. Let's see. Let me deploy this machine real quick. There we go. So we'll get the machine up and running, and you know what we'll do is we'll just have it test uploading the Dicecode PHP to it. We'll see what happens with it. We've already got the web shell. That was the intended use, and then once it gets over to the exploitation agent, what the exploitation agent would do is use that Dicecode web shell to then upload something like Arachne so that we can get an interactive shell into Mythic. Let's see here. Fetch. No, you didn't. Am I not running the server? Oh, dude, don't tell me the server crashed. Rip. Dang it. Yeah, there was something in here. Let's see if that fixes it real quick. Because there was a version of the API that was kind of wonky. Yeah, there we go. Now it's running. It spawns the browser, it's running. All right, here we go. So kind of what's going to happen is eventually, right, we're going to have the post-exploitation agent here. Exploit's job is just to get a repeatable command execution on the system. Post-exploitation's job is going to be to actually elevate that to a C2. So whether it's like dropping a web shell or generating a payload, like a bin or like an ELF file or a PE file, get it onto the system and execute it using the exploit code, right? Then get us our session there. So that's the whole goal. And we're getting close. I'm pretty sure with this browser, we're going to make stuff happen. Things are going to happen. All right, let's go over to the browser agent. So what I want to do here is so what's going to happen is these guys are all using the Stinger state, right? So browser agent is also going to use the Stinger state. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have the agent handle which task to kind of assume and execute on. So I think we actually may need to expand the state table in here. Because one thing we're going to need is we're going to need a list of like, hey, this is what is currently kind of being worked on. But actually, we got two ways to kind of think about this. We can either have it, we can either give it a list of like, hey, this is the stuff you're supposed to do for me, and that would work, right? Hold on, let's go pull up the exploitation agent here. Let's see. So here's our step revisor. That's our tool node. We're not worried about that. Actually, hold on. How's everything going? Let's pull that over here. There we go. So here's our exploit step process, right? So this is basically our loop where it comes through, exploitation agent gets an idea of what exploit to use on the system. Step planner says, okay, here are the steps we should follow. And then this loop here, right, as it's executing, it's basically going through and saying, okay, let's execute the first step. Here's our tool call. Was it successful or was it not? And if it was not successful, then we're going to come back over to the revisor, and it's basically going to run through this loop to try and make it work. So we're doing like this kind of speculative execution in it when it happens. So I'm trying to think how to integrate something like the browser agent here. One of the things we can do is we can essentially make the agent like the tool node. That's not exactly how I want to do this. I'm trying to think how to build this in here. How are we going to integrate this? There's a couple ways you can do this. One of these is with a LangGraph command argument, but then you need to, when you build the graph and compile it, you've got to have all those specialty agents added over into the node. So let's see. Let's do something here. Let's see. LangGraph call subgraph as a tool. So basically we could make it to where this could be a tool call for it. Let's see. Shared state schema we're not worried about because I'm going to actually handle that in the wrapper that happens. So here's what we're calling a subgraph, right? So we built the parent graph kind of up here. Here's our subgraph. And this is like a really tiny one right here. We have one node which calls the which says call subgraph. We have a start from here, and this one, when it takes in the state, it just sends that information over to it. That's adding persistence. No, that's not what I want. We'll look at this real fast. Got to modular AI agents, which is kind of what we want. We want this to be modular where we can go slot in new agents as we need them. And this is kind of the idea here, right? We'll have something up here. We'll have a subgraph where we can call it. So that's our subgraph state right there. Actually, let's go ahead and define some stuff over here. Let's see. For our browser agent, let's go ahead and make a class here. And what we're going to do is we're going to define a browser state right here. So we'll call this browser state. I think just for clarity, I think that's how I want to do this. Yeah. So we'll make this a typed dictionary. And this basically just has a messages key right here. And this is going to be annotated, if I remember right. It's basically this right here. Actually, yeah, it's pretty much that. There we go. Let's see. Let me import this real quick. Same thing with this one. I don't think that's where I wanted that from. I believe it comes in from typing. There we go. That's the one I wanted. Perfect. Because this will just kind of make it clear right here. The browser agent state, however, is going to come back and it's just going to be using the Stinger state. So let's go ahead and import that real quick. So let's see. Where's that going to come from? I got to remember. Where do we import that from? I don't remember what the exact path is. Take that out. That's it. So, oh, there we go. So now we'll have this. We'll have access to the Stinger state in here because that's what everything's going to use. And then let's kind of think about this. How's this browser graph going to look right here? So what I'm kind of envisioning is we'll have our start node up here. That's just kind of like the default entry point. And then from there, we want some kind of indicator as to what we're executing, right? What does our current state table kind of look like? But here's kind of what I'm thinking about is we'll take this, we're going to have, let's call it maybe a task collector. Although really that's not the best way to handle this. And the reason is because the parent node is kind of handling this already for us. So that's not the correct way to do this. Really what we want to do is we'll take this. Actually, let me look at something real fast here. Let's do something. I need a pickle. That's what I need. Let's come back over here. Our machine's done booting up. Let me copy this. Let's go do a run of the actual agent here. Let's see. Losing my windows. Got too much stuff open. Where's Stinger? Here it is. Let me grab the initial state table here. Let's drop that in. And then what I'm going to do is, let's go execute this real quick. Let's come over to Stinger. Drop this in. It'll be in a nice new thread. And then, so we're going to run this, we're going to let it go through the entire chain. But, before I do that, I got to make sure the VPN is on. Kill this real quick. This VPN. I feel bad for TryHack because the VPN's been on for weeks. Let's see. Okay, ton zeros up. Good. All right, so we'll submit this. It's going to run through all these graphs and their subgraphs, and then when it gets to exploitation, we'll get a new pickle. It's going to die and it's going to break, but it doesn't actually take very long to get through a lot of these. Hopefully, at least. Let's see. Initializer should not take this long. Unless we're hitting an overload. There it goes. Now it's up. You can't see it because it's behind my big head. It probably hit an overload and was having to hit the retry function. Oh. Not sponsored by Jocko? Yeah. I'm working on it. I gotta go find a physical therapist to start working with them. And I'm going to start that up when I get back from travel next week. All right, cool. Recon's over here doing its thing. Man, those Recon in-map calls are expensive. I mean, relatively speaking, there's so much data in it because it's all nasty XML. But the XML gives us some really cool data that we can eventually use as part of like identifying vulnerabilities in systems. All right, let that run for just a second. Actually, no, I need to just let this run and chill out because what I need to see is I need to see what the ending state table looks like to refresh myself. Because we've been stuck over in Purgatory, the browser Purgatory, for so long. I'm trying to remember exactly how I structured the exploitation table. And doing the documentation for that is going to be a beatdown. But that's going to be important for how we call something like the browser agent, because actually it can be called by enumeration or recon. So one of the checks we'll probably have to have in there is, hey, are you being called by which primary agent invoked you, right? Which task are we currently working on, or is it a particular kind of task, right? Because we have two different types of tasks in here. We basically have, actually, really, we've got a task where things can be looked at, but then we also have like what's called an exploitation task. And those are structured differently because it's set up to be speculative. We don't know if the exploit's going to work until we try it. There could be multiple avenues. So we let it speculate on what the exploit is, test it out, eventually come to a verdict on whether or not it's successful or not. And then at that point, it kind of rolls over to like, what's the next thing to try? Okay, maybe command execution or command injection didn't work here, but can we do a SQL injection next? All right. Yeah, it's erroring on the exploit agent, but that's not the important part. Let's go down here. Yep, I don't care. That's not a problem. Let me look at this trace down here over in good old Smith. Oh, we didn't have any output from this because it eventually just died. Okay. I do find it funny that we don't have a system prompt with this. See, look at this. When this one gets called, right? Let me try this one. So here's the language call from the browser, right? Our input is just human. We don't actually have a system prompt, which I found really funny. All right, so here is some information. What's our output? Oh, we didn't get any output. This is our format. Where's our, hold on. Wait, this is weird. Hang on one second. Let me look at something. Oh, for some reason the enumeration agent actually had the fault. What's going on? Wait, enum got an overloaded message? We shouldn't get an overloaded message, though. Is enum not using the fallback function? Dang it. Fix one bug. Find 10 more. Let me see. I gotta remember how we did that. Hang on. Where's recon? Where's our prompt template? There we go. Where do we define that? I know where we define that, but are we not using? We're not using the LLM with retry in the enum function? Yeah, we are. Let me see here. Response equals. Yeah. Wow, it must really be overloaded then if we're getting this much. Because what's going to happen is, here, let me show you. This invoke with retry, go to the declaration of that. Here, what should happen is it should be a 10-second delay, and it's going to try it 3 times. And it's basically going to try and execute this query right here, or basically this little line of code. So what happens is a lot of times we were getting thrashed by Anthropic's API because that's what we're using for testing. It was hitting the API, it was getting an overloaded message, and then it was just dying on us. So it sounds like we just hit that little marker right there. Just rude and unfortunate. Give me new thread. I go up. No. You're gonna make me go copy the whole thing out again, aren't you? Rude. Hang on. let me get my testing data. Maybe run the whole thing again, aren't you? Eventually, there will be a human-in-the-loop interrupt on this. Okay, there we go. Now it's running. The way the two nodes were kind of squished together right there, you can barely see them. But I thought the error was on exploit, which is understandable. It's supposed to exploit is incomplete. It's supposed to error right now. However, it was actually over here on the enum agent, and the enum agent has been functional for a long time, even though it's very much similar to this other one. So a couple options we've got here while this is actually running is we could essentially go through, and you see how Stinger has these kind of like dashed lines to the other agents. What Stinger is doing is using something called a command route in here. If we come up here, it's returning this command option. And so for each of these agents on which one to go through, we just add them in to our workflow as nodes. So we could go do that. We could go add that as, hey, we need to update something with all the specialty graphs. It's going to look kind of funky because then we're going to have all these primary agents in here, but then all of them are going to have a ton of calls down to secondary agents or specialty agents, really, as they come through. How far did we get? Oh, Anthropic, you're killing me. You're killing me, Smalls. Pseudo, please. What's up, man? Ask away. Let's see. This is unfortunate. I needed to finish the entire... I needed to get to the entry point to exploit to save the state table as a pickle file. Hey, Bobby, what's up, dude? Killing me. Try this one more time. I just need a pickle. That's all I need. I need one pickle. Just give me the pickle. I think Anthropic is just really getting hammered right now because this initializer call, it shouldn't take very long when it does this. Come on, buddy. Come on, you can do it. Yeah, they're just getting thrashed right now. See that? So that took about 30 seconds. What's happening is it's trying, and it's just getting overloaded. Dang it. Is it a 429 rate limiting thing? No, I mean, we've gotten this overload error before. You can't see it because it's behind me, but this overload error right here, we've gotten that before, and that's why we put in actually an error correcting function here. We called it LLM helpers, and what it does is it uses the retry library to come through and actually make this function here, where if it fails, it will retry it. If it catches an API status error, right? It tries it 3 times, and it waits for a delay of 10 seconds every time it does it. However, if it is overloaded, severely overloaded, and it just can't get that call out there, then we're kind of SOL. You know what? I actually went through and I set up my old hash cracking server. It is not super beefy. It has one good benefit to it. It's got 2 1080 Ti cards in it. The good thing about those is they have 11 gigs of RAM in them, and it can still run Olama. So I could, in theory, actually shift this over to the in-house testing box. The kicker is I need to come over here in the config, and I'd have to go swap this stuff out. Let's see. I'd be willing to try it. It's running GPT OSS. I went ahead and downloaded that, the 20B version. Could we fall back to another LLM in the config? We probably could. But to do that, if we wanted to have that level of like redundancy in here, Bobby, I think what we'd have to do though is at every invoke with retry, we'd have to have another one to wrap this function here. So basically we would define this function as something else, like invoke with retry, and then maybe just have like an LLM invoke function here. Maybe call it like LLM with fallback. LangGraph actually does have that functionality here where you can tell it to fall back to different ones. I just haven't had this level of trouble with it. It's never been this clogged up before. It's been clogged up. And let's say before we put this function in, if any one of these just ate itself, the entire program basically just ground to a halt. So it's helped, however, it hasn't helped enough. Let's see if we can get it to do just enough for us in here. Of course, they're getting overloaded. I just realized during DEF CON, right? Yeah, we probably could do that. Eventually, Bobby, in here, there's going to be in the env file, there's going to be a config in there where you can configure like multiple. Yeah, it's just freaking cooked. If we're gonna get any work done tonight without just speculation, I'll probably just have to go configure it for Olama. Oh, how do I want to do that? Let me think. It should be all OpenAI compatible. So what we could do is let's go redo some stuff here. Let's change this to Claude. I can spell it. Same thing here. Actually, yeah, we could do that. We could do Claude model temp, default LLM. Let's see. Let's move this up. We'll leave that this. No, you know what? I'm gonna take this down. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna make all these just Claude. And then same thing with this right here. Let's refactor this. Gemini is basically free and they're very generous with their free tier. I'd have to go sign up and go get an API key from them. I would rather really just maybe just try and point it over to what we've got going on right now. Let's see. I don't know if we actually even need this in here. I'm going to comment that out. I'll comment that out too. Because really, I think these are the only things that we're really using. Is just LLM and then the RoboPages tools in here. So what we can do is we can change the... let's see. This. I'm going to change this to just underscore LLM. I'm going to do this right here. So LLM is going to equal... in this case, it would be something like Claude LLM, right? In here. So what we'll do is we'll just duplicate this stuff real fast. But I'm going to rename this. So this is going to be Olama. And I got to go figure out what the model is actually called when it gets presented from Olama. And this would not be Chat Anthropic anymore. I got to remember how to do that. Let's see. LangGraph Olama. Also need to double check that Chat Olama supports tool calling. Let's see. It does have tool calling. You don't have image inputs. Wait, why wouldn't it have image inputs? That's dependent on... Let's see. Because I need to also configure this with the endpoint to it, because we're not running Olama locally. I gotta figure out which... I gotta figure out what it's using in here. Actually, let me look at something. This is actually going to be part of LangChain. LangChain, OpenAI, set base URL. Let's see. Here's the Python version. Hey, good. It actually gave us right there. There we go. So we can set a base URL for that. Whenever we initialize it in here. So let's actually do it that way. So what we'll do is from LangChain, we want to import chat Anthropic and also chat. Oh wait, no, this is the wrong one. Take it back. So from LangChain _ OpenAI, we want to import chat OpenAI. There we go. So this is now going to be chat OpenAI, and then really this isn't expecting a model. What the hell you say? Bring this over. A wee bit. Reformat this real quick. You can't tell it what model to use with chat OpenAI? No way. Hey, Chris, what's up, dude? GPT-5 just dropped and everyone's just hammering Claude still. Interesting how they ripped out all the other models on ChatGPT. Granted, still available with the from the API, but kind of what the heck? Yeah, I know, right? So actually, I didn't hear about that. So OpenAI just ripped everything out and said everybody's GPT-5 now. There's no option for the other ones. And hey, Chris, what's up, dude? Hey. I'm sitting here holding the can like I've got anything to drink. I finished that already. Let's see. All right. Now, what's it saying that we cannot specify the model? In here it says we can specify a model. In here it does not. Let's see. Turn the model temp up. And then we need to set one more thing in here, which is going to be our... Oh, it's probably because we're running an older version, perhaps, of Chat OpenAI. Maybe that's why. So they're just intelligently routing you to some other model behind the scenes and don't tell you what it is, but surface, it's all GPT-5. Actually, that's a pretty smart move, because you don't need to be running the big honkin' model for lots of the smaller things, right? I think that's actually pretty legit. Now, I feel like I should know this stuff, but also I've been working kind of, I feel like, more under the hood in here. Trying to figure out, like most recently I've been working with a lot of stuff on PyTorch. I was talking with my manager. She wants me to kind of take on a LLM, AI, machine learning, subject matter expert type role. So she wants me to start boning up more on that, and I have been. there's been lots of things I've been messing with, but there's still some stuff under the hood I'm trying to sort out. Doing some really cool stuff with PyTorch, actually. I'm building a demo that's actually going to show all the various pieces. And you can see like the data when you send a query to like a local model, see it flow through the various layers in PyTorch. Let's see. OpenAI base API. Hang on one sec. I gotta actually drop into OPSEC mode for this because I gotta go figure out what it is. Let's see. Where did I configure that? Stand by, y'all. Let's see. I gotta edit my env file, so that's why we're now in OPSEC mode. Let's see. Stand by. Stand by. All right. Let's see. Got the URL. Kicker is now I gotta figure out GPT OSS 20B. All right, so that should be it. Close that. Let's see. GPT tag OSS. Hold on, can't type OSS. All right, one sec. I think I've just about got this sorted out. All right, did I close the env file? Yes, I did. All right, we can drop out of OPSEC mode now. Well, let's see. So this, I need to get a value from our env file. So do I have that in here? I don't. So what we'll have to do is we'll do from OS import get env. And this one is going to be this could be get env, and the key that we want to get is llama base. Dang it. Is that what I set it to? Sorry, just one sec. Yep, that's it. Okay, cool. Every time I have to open that env file and I accidentally show it on stream, I gotta go nuke all my API keys. So, like, we're not gonna do that. From a cross-saving perspective, it's pretty smart. I think it just feels a bit deceptive, and some people were thrown off by it. Yeah, I can understand that, especially if they change the way their API works. I don't know if that's like when you're going through the UI, is it the same thing, Bobby, or is it just like can you still call those other models from the OpenAI API? Let's do something here. I actually need to restart the server. Why is it constantly giving me this problem? I should not have to reinstall the LangGraph API every dang time to fix that. Oh, it's complaining because the OpenAI API key is missing from the environment variables, but that's okay. Let's do API key equals toolbar. You're just absolutely pissing me off, aren't you? I don't know where this API runtime context crap keeps coming in at. There we go. And for some reason, running an update from UV fixes it. It's so weird. Let's see if it works. If it works, this is going to be really weird. At least it's going to feel weird. Refresh this. There we go, that should work. Let's do a new thread. Let's see what happens. API connection error. Dang it! It did not like that. You're gonna just crash out on me, aren't you? Dude, what is up with this? Yeah, so watch this. If I just rerun the LangGraph server, loses its damn mind over this runtime context API. I gotta think that it's caching something in here. But if I just run a pip upgrade for the LangGraph API and then rerun it, it's gotta be clearing a cache in there somewhere. That's the only thing I can think of, because now it's gonna work. That's not what I want. All right, let's see if it'll work. Yeah, it's timing out so long. We're already at 2 retries right here. You can kind of see it poking up. It's probably about to hit 3rd retry, be like, I'm overloaded. Oh, it managed to actually make it through. Okay. Let's see if it'll actually finish. Come on, little buddy. You can do it. Actually, I think I may have a cheat and a kind of workaround for this. Because we already have a couple of state tables like from the past. They're up in Langsmith. So we could go get the data from that of like what was in the exploitation step. Combine those together and then throw it at the browser agent and let it try and figure it out. All right, so now we're in the enumeration agent. Cool, it's actually running. Yay. Let me cancel this. For some reason, it's saying in here that we're getting... Where's this latest trace in here? Let's see. For some reason, it was saying GoBuster was getting interrupted. Oh, you know why? I think I know why. The word list file right here. Saying it doesn't exist, but it does exist. I think the issue here actually is something different. I made a change to how the Docker containers are actually functioning. Where's RoboPages? Let's see. Our pages, cybersecurity, offensive. I think it's information gathering. GoBuster. Here we go. Yep, I think the kicker here was, yep, where we're mounting this to. This is no longer correct. This now needs to be HackBot, because we're going to mount the actual Docker volume to it. Yep, that's it. All right, let me go restart RoboPages real quick. Okay, should be up and running now. Let's see if we can get it to actually execute. Where's our starting? I'm so glad I figured that out. All right, submit. All right, cool. I'm gonna let this run for just a second, guys. I better get some water. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. And it looks like it's still running. Hopefully, we're not erroring anymore. Let's go see. Let's see, did it find it? All right, so here's our tool call happening again. What I actually ought to do is see if I can find a bunch of like MIDIs that are like DRM free. Hey, there we go. That did fix GoBuster. Nice. We're updating. It's happening. So we found panel and upload. Awesome. Wait, why are we hitting the validator again? We haven't made any other tool calls. Oh, wait, it's actually taking care of the next task. That's what it's doing. Okay. Come on, just finish enum and hit, because as soon as it hits the exploitation agent, that's where it stores the pickle, and that's what I need. I need it to store that state table. Why are you calling Katana? No! Stop it. You already have the information. You've got the power. You don't need to run Katana. The headless crawler's not going to find it anyway. It's not linked to anything. Killing me, Smalls. Let's see. I hope I'll be real pissed if it went down like the wrong execution path and then the API starts timing out again. Right, come on. You can do it. Come on, hit the exploitation agent. Finally. This is what I needed. Hooray! Good. It did finally make its way, even though it went kind of in a roundabout way, to the exploitation agent. So now we should have an updated pickle file. Hey, Josh, what's up, dude? Did I miss much? Nah, man. What we're doing right now is we're looking at over here. We have a browser set up for the AI program, and now we're gonna build a scaffold to get that over to where the other agents can use it. However, I needed to get an idea on how to build this part. So the browser itself it technically is an agent, but not really. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a kind of scaffold around it that's actually going to be the agent that gets imported over to HackBot so it can use it. However, to do that, we need to kind of scaffold it and make it dynamically load. I don't want to just hard load it in there. Eventually, the idea here is, we find it in this special agents folder. You could take an agent, basically do a git clone of it into that folder, and then boom, you've got all the code you need. It can be dynamically loaded whenever you execute HackBot. So that's kind of what we're gonna, but I needed to get a little bit of data to do that. And so what I needed the exploitation agent to finish its run. This is the actual error I expected to get. This is fine. I was waiting for that to happen. Excuse me. All right, let's see here. Awesome. Everything is awesome. Dude, Honey Badger has been stuck on that song. Just every few minutes I just hear him. Everything is awesome. Oh, let's see. All right, exploitation agent, step planner, step processor. All right, I want to look at the input to the step processor. So let's bring this up quick. So for the exploit agent right here, this is where it's coming. When it gets to the step processor, the exploit agent has already said, this is the exploit we want to try. Exploit planner then says, okay, here's the steps we need to go through. And then the processor So it outputs that, it takes it over to the processor. And so looking at the input for the processor is going to tell us like what's the current state table right here. Give it to me raw. No, not like that. Jeez, not that raw. Kill me, Smalls. Let's scroll here. One sec. I've been doing so much stuff on my computer. I'm not sure what's open in like any text editors or anything. I don't want to go doxing weird stuff I'm working on. Okay. Except it didn't copy everything. What the heck, man? Oh, there we go. I just copy it. I'm going to go with Andy on that one. What's up, Andy? Thank you for coming online. I hope you're having a absolutely fantastic Saturday. Hope everyone's having a fantastic Saturday. Okay, cool. Now we've got all of our stuff in here. Perfect. All right. Try asking the AI to reframe the prefix de in description as the same de as in decode and decrypt. No, I don't want to do that. No, dead. Oh, let's see. Claps messages. I don't care about hosts right now. I do care about our tasks, though. So, for our tasks, though, we don't need the first one. Let me see something. Can I see the outline of this? Yes, here we go. Okay. Messages, hosts, tasks. This should be task 5. Yep, and it's assigned to the exploitation agent right here. Okay, perfect. So now that I've got this data, what I can look at is we can put some logic checks over here into the browser agent that says, hey, by the way, is this an exploitation agent? If it is, then what we need to do is go look at the actual execution steps and maybe we can address all of those.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Yes, I have tried turning it off again many times. Unfortunately, it hasn't been successful because they don't give me access to the back end of Anthropic. I'm glad, Chris. I'm happy you're happy. All right, let's see here. All right. So for our exploit task, this is this part right here. So this part right here, these steps that we have. And so it's kind of a little bit weird. Let me contrast this with another one. So look at this task. So this one was examine the discovered directories from GoBuster and which URLs have upload forms. So it validated this. It used Katana's headless crawler, which is weird because it didn't even go to either of the forms. It's kind of dumb. But whatever. It shouldn't have been validated, and it did. This makes no sense for it to have been validated. But anyway, this is kind of the general structure. So we have tools, and then we have output. However, exploit tasks work differently. Exploit tasks don't call tools. What they do is they build a list of the tasks that we need to do. So our master task here is upload a PHP web shell to the panel directory and see if it gets stored in uploads, then access it to gain remote code execution. Perfect. So what we have now, though, is we have our current step where we're at, and then the various steps that we've got in here. So what we can do is we can put a check in to the browser agent that says, hey, if you're if you're not an exploitation task, handle the one task. If you are an exploitation task, then come and find these sub-steps and handle as many as you reasonably can. It's like if it's a web-based thing, then fine. Although this is going to be a tiny bit weird, because one thing we're actually going to have to do, now that I have this, let's see. Actually, I want to come back over to BrowserPy because I still needed this information. We can use create PHP web shell file. Actually, this is probably going to get renamed from like create to get. that's a RoboPages basically. What do I want to call that? Just think of it like a convenient helper function over in RoboPages, because we already have. Where is it? In fact, I'm going to rename this window. This is going to be browser agent, because we're not using browser use. Let's see. There's wordless over in web shells, right? We already have Diceco right here. This diceco.php. So what we can do is we can return it the absolute path to that. So in this case, it would be, let's see. It'd be data web shells diceco php. Yeah, that would be it. So let's come back over here. Let's make it do some stuff in here. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this example right here. No, not that. Copy. We'll do this over in the browser agent, because this is what we're going to have to do anyway. So let's, we'll do an async define. We'll just call this main for now. And in main, we're going to use this example right here. Let's see. We need to import our persistent browser agent. Boop, there we go. We have that. And then for our user session, I'm going to call this test session in here. Test. There we go. And then we're going to give it the task that we want it to do. Let's see. Navigate to the website? No. That's not what we want. Actually, I take it back. I gotta move this up here. There we go. Let's bring this back. All right. Let's call this browser do. So our browser do here. Not even using that. So what we'll do is we'll take in like a single task we want to do here. So we'll make that a string. And then what we're going to do is we're going to give it a task right here. So this is going to be our task, just like that. Actually, will that work? Let me double check something. Yeah, we'll just return the result right here, just like so. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do if name is double equals main. Can't type. I can type. I can type. Promise I can type. Let me see how we did that over here. That's right, we did async IO. We'll do an async IO run, and then what we'll do is we'll do the, we're just gonna run main right here. Just like that. Let's import some async IO. And then what we're gonna do is our browser do, we're gonna have like a list of our tasks that we wanna do here real quick. So let's call this our task list. Just make that an array real quick. And so the first thing we want it to do is we want it to browse to, actually we can just give it one task in here, I think. Yeah, we can do that. What was the website? What was the IP address of the site? I'm trying to remember. There it is. Take that. Yeah. We're going to give it the URL. Look. You're killing me, Smalls. There we go. Let's see. And upload data wordless. What's that path? Web shells. Data web shells. Let's see. Web shells, and then it's going to be dicecode.php. So that's our testing web shell. There we go. So we'll have it browse over to that and try to upload this. So real simple. And then let me look at something real fast. Yep, so we want to get our agent session in here. So we'll call that our agent. Keep switching to the wrong window. Actually, that's not correct. Hang on. Damn it, I keep clicking the wrong button. Copy this whole thing. I did it again. Click the wrong button. Yeah, we don't even need that, really. Boop. That's what we need. All right, so let's do... let's see. I'm gonna call this upload test. In fact, we don't even need this browser do right here for now. Take that out. All right, so what we'll do is we'll do upload test. We're gonna call this our test session. And then our task is, yeah, just do this. Task 0 for now. I know it looks a little funny. This is just a test right here. And actually what I want to do is when I return these results, I want to just print the entire messages block. I don't want to get just the last one. Return the messages. Active session is here. Yep, that should be good. And then last thing we want to do is we want to tear down session. So where was our teardown at? There we go. For nice convenience, what we'll do next is we'll just tear this down. That's just gonna be agent. Okay. So what this should do is we have our task. If we needed multiple tasks defined, we could do that. That's fine. For now, I just want to see if it can get over there and if it can actually upload. If it can actually do the upload of this file. So we're going to let it kind of work through and figure this out. Let's see. We have our browser session. We've got our this our upload test. Let me fix this. Upload test. We have our results. We are going to print what our active session was. Not important. We just want to do that. And then finally what it's going to do is it's going to shut down the browser. And this is because whenever we actually kick on the session, it's going to boot up the Docker container, and this is going to shut it down. So that way we don't have these containers chilling out in the background, eating up resources. In fact, do we even have any still? Oh, good lord. We have a ton. We sure do. Let's kill some of these real quick. Let's cut that. Let's see. Those look like spaces. Let's see. We want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 15, 16. I think we want field 15 in here. This would space delimit by default. Nope, not 15. 20? 21? 2? Like so many in here. 25? Actually, you know what? Why am I doing this the hard way? Browser.star. We'll make this extended, and I think it's tac G will return just the magic part. Nope. Not tac V. Right, what's it? Grep, return, match only. What is that? Tack. Oh, that's what it is. There we go. That's the one I wanted. All right, so let's kill all those real quick. So we'll do... We have all these dangling containers happening in the background. So we're going to stop all these, and they should actually self-delete once we're done with it. There we go. Docker, container, ls, all. Yeah, so we don't have any of the containers hanging in the background. These ones are designed to be kind of ephemeral, so as soon as you stop the container, it just boots it out of there, gets rid of it. Boy thing. All right, now we've got a nice clean environment for testing this. Let's see what it does. Run. So unfortunately, we're not going to get a lot of data back from what it's doing while it's running, but we actually can go watch it over in Langsmith. Actually, it looks like it... Dude, if it did it, that'd be awesome. It tried. Look at this. Data web shell, Diceco, PHP. Server responded with the status of 404 not found. Hold on, so let's go take a look at the entire conversation here. So it browsed over to panel. Wait, it didn't find it? Dude, don't tell me the machine died. No. No, it's still up. Okay. Hold on, what's it doing then? Let me click here. There, cute. Web browser. Let's go pull it up manually. It should pull up just fine. Yeah, that should have been just fine. Why is it saying it's 404? Yeah, I mean, that worked. Server responded with server status 404 at this. What is this one? N002. What are you trying to do here? Let's go take a look at the trace of it real fast. It looks like it is trying its hardest to do it, though. Let's see what we got. All right, so for the first LLM call, where's our input? Here. There we go. Default. There we go. All right, so browse to 10.201.123.113 panel and upload the Diceco web page. Okay, so first we're going to navigate to the URL. So where the URL is here, we do a browser navigate. Oh, I see what it is. The 404 is because there's a JSON in there that doesn't exist, and it's trying to load it when the page loads. Here, hold on. I can show you. I see where that error is coming in at. So if I come right here, we come to inspect, right? We look at our network logs. Nothing in here right now, right? But if I refresh this, it's this guy right here. And so it's trying to load a JS file that it has a typo in it, and so it's screwing up, but it's fine. That's where that 404 was coming through. I was like, why could you not hit this? That makes no sense. It's not. It's because it's saying it had a 404 in the JSON trying to load it. But just look at this. We have the URL, we got the correct page title, and we do have a button here to choose file. So now let's see what happens when we try to upload the file. Let's see. So this one just straight up errored out on us. Let's see what we got here. Tool exception. So can only be used with when there is a related modal state present. There's no modal state present. Please fix your mistake. Okay. So it looks like then it does a click. Let's see. I notice I need to click the file input first, trigger it. Okay, cool. I got that. So it clicks on it. Now I can upload the file. It attempts to upload it. How does this come back? So we should see actually in here an error when it re-renders it. Does it not? Oh, I wish I could get a screenshot of like what it's doing as it steps along. I know actually we could tell it to take screenshots like as it's going through. But what should happen is, let's take a look at this. Let me show y'all. So if I come over here and I try to do this manually, right? So I come to choose file and like I try to upload dicecode.php and I hit upload. We should get this. Basically saying PHP is not permitted. Which is fine, because this is expected. It's one of the challenges that the agent's going to have to work around. Oh, there. Let's see what it says here. Let's see. Oh, there we go. It actually did say that. Dude, this is... Oh, you can't see it because it's behind me. But it actually says, hey, I've completed the requested actions, though it appears the upload was rejected with a message of... It even translated it. PHP is not allowed. The file was selected, but the server rejected the upload due to type restrictions. And then this agent returned. Yes. Yes. It's happening. Hey, Bobby. No, the Alamo failback did not work. However, I am going to work on integrating it, probably while I'm traveling this week. But what did happen, though, is we just did a test of the browser agent, and I literally told it, browse over here and upload Dicecode PHP, and it did, and it hit the error state, which is good. It actually tried to get the web shell up onto the server. And so this is actually working kind of well. This is exciting, because once it gets that up there, oh, shit's gonna go down. I can't wait. I am stoked. Oh. Another tip for the swear jar. I still need to go... All right, after the stream tonight, I'll go do the charitable donation. I'll post it up on Discord. Because we hit 50 on the swear jar a while ago. And so I will get that up going soon. Oh, this is exciting. This baby reaches 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit. Dude, speaking of which, have y'all seen Dave Kennedy over on Twitter? Let's see. Let's see. It's Hacking Dave. Hacking Dave? Is that what he's... Yeah, there you go. Check this out. I know he's got to have a picture of it somewhere. Where's his car? There we go. Look at that thing. Oh, it's so legit. It's got a working flux capacitor. And it's just awesome. He said, one thing I like about it, though, is he said actually the fun thing is just seeing everybody get so excited whenever he's driving it around town. It looks so awesome. I love that he's got the hoverboard in there, too. My inner child is very pleased with that. Oh, this is awesome. This is sick. Okay. Let me pop back over to what our state table is here. Oh, can't wait. Okay. Okay, I need to go make a modification here. This kind of works, where it says create a simple web shell containing the code here. What we want it to do, though, is we want it to use the onboard web shell. However, I need to make an adjustment to robo pages. So let's go find that real quick. Pages, cybersecurity, offensive, web shells, PHP. Boop. So actually, instead of a cat, what we're going to do is we're going to echo this, because we're going to just echo the path to it. And all the agents will have access to this. Basically, everything that's in their /data is in the HackBot volume. Hang on one second, guys. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I'm back. Guess who's back? Back again. Blaise is back. Hack a friend. All right. We had a whole bunch of DeLorean owners in their cars at one of the Portland Rose parades some years ago, and they had pimped out with flux capacitors and everything. Oh, that's awesome! I love that, Ken. Heck yeah, guys. It's happening. So essentially, the agent here works. It works well. Let's see. All the rest of these, we can leave alone. It's just this one where we actually had to get the PHP web shell. This is what we had to change. And so we changed this from a cat, basically dump the output of it, to just have the direct path to the file right here. Oh, I'm so excited. Much excited. Okay, that should be good there. We had a local community theater do a live action Back to the Future that was pretty fun. Dude, I'll tell you something. So, Sock is real big on musicals. It's like one of our built-in date nights. She gets season tickets to go see this whole series of musicals here in Dallas. And one of the ones that they did was Back to the Future as a musical. It was actually pretty freaking good. I had a great time there the whole time. It was fun. Thankfully, most of the shows, they're batting about a 90% good rate. And there's been a couple, though, where I'm just like, I'm done. I'm leaving at the intermission. But those are the exception. Okay. This right here sparks joy. This sparks so much joy. All right, where's this right here? All right, so here's our kind of list. Right, Schmear. So now we actually need to build the agent that's going to be imported over there that the exploitation graph can call. That's what we're going to need to do. All right, so current step is going to need to be updated in here. All right, I'm trying to think about the flow of all this. We can get the browser agent kind of scaffold tonight. We got about an hour left on the stream. And then once that's done, probably tomorrow, we'll work on actually hooking it in and making it available to the rest of Stinger and the other agents. Ooh, Daddy likes. All right, let's see here. So what we want to do is... Let's think about this real quick. A little bit of planning goes a long way. All right, so what we'll do is we'll start. What we need to do is we're going to have. I'm not sure what the next node is going to be, but let's think about like what the logic is going to be, and then we'll do the nodes here. So when this comes in, first thing we're going to do is we needed to check the task type. So we'll check the task type, and it's going to either be normal or an exploitation task. So when we check the task type, there we go. Once we figure that out, if it's a normal task, it's just going to execute through there. However, if it's an exploit task, what we're going to do is we're going to read down this list. We're going to read down this list and figure out like which one of these are that we can handle immediately, right? So like, for example, we can navigate to the target web application to access this. Creating the PHP web shell is probably not something we want to do. Or we can take the brute force approach, which is we just have it go handle the first task in here. We say, okay, cool. Well, this is the current step. I keep using that term incorrectly. We have tasks, and then we have exploit tasks, and exploit tasks have steps to them. So we could have it just go through and handle this first one in here. I think that will be the simplest solution. So let's do it that way for now. We're going to go back and we're going to re-architect all this and clean it up once the 4 primary agents are done. And Stinger can solve this with no breadcrumbs, because right now Stinger gets breadcrumbs, which is we're telling it how to go through and do this. So for example, here, let's see, where was that? Go to previous input? Previous input? No previous input. Dang it. Oh, wait, hold on. I've got it over here. So from here, we're telling it, hey, scan the target, find the ports, find out what version of Apache is running, what's running on port 22. And essentially, this is all coming from this part right here. We've taken all the steps in the learning path and put them as breadcrumbs in there. We're going to strip all of that out. Eventually, it's just going to have probably the name of it. Actually, not even the name of it. We're just going to give it the, what is it? Just the IP address. We're going to give it the IP address and say, go hack. Go forth and hack. And then Stinger is going to have to figure out how to do that to create the task to hand off to the other agents. So what will eventually happen here is instead of going through and like automatically flowing through all of these, let me collapse this down real quick. Collapse, collapse, collapse. Instead of right now, Initializer handles all of that. Eventually, Initializer is going to come through and just take the user input and prepare it. In fact, Initializer will probably just go away in the beginning. And then this will kind of be rolled over into Stinger. Stinger is going to look at the initial information and say, okay, what do we need to find out? Okay, let's do a port scan. Great. Create a task to do a port scan. We're going to assign that to Recon, and then it'll hand it off to Recon. That data is going to come back. Stinger is going to then say, okay, what new information do we have? What can we determine from that? Okay, we're going to make a new task, and we're going to assign that maybe to enum. We notice that there is a web server. So let's go enumerate the web server. And then it can start looking and digging through and letting it develop its own attack path. Right now, we're kind of giving it the waypoints for the attack path. And eventually, Stinger is going to have to be a big boy and solve his own problems and take care of that. That's why, Stinger is just a single node right now. These are all graphs. That's why they've got this little icon to them right here. Stinger is just a single node. Stinger is going to get busted out into be something larger than what it currently is. So excited. All right, so let's do a quick check here. So if normal, we'll do process task, and then we'll do if exploit, then we're going to process that one step. Yep. So I think what we'll do here for for the exploit step processor, we're going to give it an option. And maybe what we'll do is we'll have two nodes here. We'll have a secondary node where basically there's two paths it can go down. One is a node to call the subgraph to go handle this, or to do a tool call to handle it. So if it's just like an individual tool call, cool. But if we've got something that's specially crafted for handling, what is that? For handling those browser related ones, what we'll do is we'll just bypass it over here. This will then make the call to the specialty agent. Maybe we'll call it like exploit special agent call over here, and then that'll route it. Eventually they'll come back to the step update and it'll continue over here in the loop right here. So I think that's probably what we're going to do is we're going to add, let's say like a horizontal node to where the tool node is to handle all this. Peek and flow. Hello, Blaise and Feds. It looks really cool, but scary, but cool. It's all controlled right now. This is also super rough right now, Peek. And in my wildest dreams, I think about like being able to like show up the Expo guys, but they have a team of 25 and I'm one dude and I work on this for usually at most 6 hours a week. Typically 6 hours, sometimes a little bit more. Today I worked on it a little bit more because I was trying to get the browser agent finished. I didn't quite make it today, but oh, I'm so excited. I just can't hide it. I am about to lose control, but I think I like it. Okay. I think this is actually pretty easy. We can wrap all of this into a single node right there. All of this can be one node in here. So you are now a node. Congratulations. And then what we'll do is we're just going to, like here. We're going to send this over to the browser node here to let it process whatever that task or that step is. And then once that's done, then we're going to actually just hit the end node. This is going to be a real simple one. So very simple agent, because a lot of the magic is actually happening here in this browser node. And what it's doing is it's creating something called a React agent on the back end. Eventually, I'll probably go through and update the browser node to where it's not quite so abstracted from LangGraph. We'll throw it in there, but I'm excited. All right, let's get started on this. So we don't have to define the start and end nodes. They're basically already there. This is the part we have to define. So we'll call this, what do I call this? Let's call this the prep node. Excuse me. Nose is itching like crazy. So let's go write this real quick. All right, so there's our browser. Where's our browser agent though? Here we go. Poster, what's up, dude? Yeah, dude, how'd your OSCP go? You aced it! Let's fucking go! Dude, that is awesome. That was worth the swear jar. That is awesome, man. Congratulations, dude. Dude, I did not pass my first time through. I was very close. I missed some screenshots and I got analysis paralysis because I was scanning too much. The second time through, I was way better prepared and I scanned a lot smaller and more often. And when I did that, I already had the report prepped. And so as I'm finding stuff, I'm throwing it directly into my report. It's auto saving. And I was done with the entire test in 24 hours versus the last time where it was like the 48-hour test and then report marathon. Aced it in 12 hours? Bro. And this is the harder test too. I had the easier one. I had the 5 machine test. I wish they had kind of left the buffer overflow in there. Maybe just for nostalgia purposes. I know it's not really needed. I personally liked it. I liked the buffer overflow. Yeah, Peak. It's technically a 48-hour test. Hey, Vive, thanks for coming online, man. Welcome in. I hope everybody's having a fantastic Saturday. I'm having a freaking awesome Saturday. This browser agent is just making me so happy. It has been a very long 8 weeks of testing different solutions, trying them out, figuring out what's happening to get it up and running. And now it's doing stuff. Can't wait. Okay. There's one thing I need to double check, and that is, notice how whenever we call the agent, we have to await it. It's got to be an async function. I believe that is not a problem in here. I think what we can do, I believe that's not a problem for using LangGraph async. Hold on. Let me double check that real fast here. LangGraph with async functions. Let's see. Dude, Poster, I'm so excited for you, man. And I know I give the OSCP a lot of crap, especially around its pricing, but that doesn't diminish the fact that, yes, it is a challenging test, especially like if you're very new into pen testing and you haven't worked as a professional penetration tester. So that is still a major accomplishment. Just because I have problems with OffSec doesn't mean I'm going to belittle somebody for completing that challenging exam. Okay, hang on one second. Let me do something real fast. Let's see. Yeah, let's make this happen. There we go. Let's do that. Let's see. What do you think about the OWASP for a newbie? Which part of OWASP are you actually talking about? Like, I don't know if OWASP has like tested. I mean, usually when you think of OWASP, you think of like the top 10. They've got the top 10 common web vulnerabilities that you find, and they've also got like the top 10. Now they have the top 10 LLM vulnerabilities that you find. Hey, no problem, Poster, dude. You earned it. You earned it, especially acing it in 12 hours. You earned that. But I'd say actually, Vivek, if you want to learn offensive, if you want to learn a little bit more about offensive testing for web applications, really the Burp Suite Academy is my go-to. Well, actually, I think they call it the Web Security Academy, I think. I forgot about that. They have HTTP 1 must die. But yeah, this is the one actually I recommend. Buyback. Here, I'll drop it in the chat for everybody. There we go. That's the one I actually recommend. They do a really great job of going through and explaining stuff. Plus, you get experience using Burp Suite, which really is kind of like the gold standard for testing proxies. Actually, I hear really good things about Zap. So, I mean, I need to go check it out. I have not used Zap. I really wanted to like Kaido, and I did initially, but then Kaido kind of went the way of Postman, where you're not really running stuff local. I don't like the way Postman does stuff. I use it begrudgingly sometimes, and typically I only use Postman with like API files. What are they called? Swagger files. I typically only use that just to get data over into Burp, and then I go back to working at Burp. That's where I do 99% of my web testing. I've always hit the concept of the top 10. Please make sure we're protected against the top 10. Yeah. Don't worry, we'll get clapped by the top 11. That's okay. Zap's UI gives me much nostalgia. I haven't actually looked at Zap. Hold on. Lost Zap. I haven't actually looked at their... Is this literally what it still looks like? It looked like this so long ago. At least Burp Suite's like updating their interface, even if it is written in Java. Oh, talk about the LLM one? Yeah. Actually, I'm working on something that hopefully I'll be able to release. Right now, it's going to be for internal use, and it's based around the LLM top 10. Once I get that functional and in a good state, I think I'm probably going to be able to release it publicly. So I'm hopefully going to be able to have something for that soon. Yeah, this thing looks like it's straight out of Netscape. It's what this looks like. Oh, too funny. Too funny. All right, let me see here. Actually, I did LangGraph, yeah. I once wrote a company blog post where I showed that the top 10 could be really expanded to 40 or 50 different issues. Well, yeah, I mean, they're really big catch-alls, right? Let's see. Agents support both synchronous and asynchronous execution from the invoke and the a-invoke. So full response. Let's see if they give an example here. That's the output format. Oh, but this is all for LangChain. I need it for LangGraph. Let's see what this guy's got. Zoom in? No, go away. I don't want to zoom in. Go away. Let's see. He's got LangChain core in here. Tool implementations. Let's see. Is this just for tools though? Because actually I need to know if... Actually, here we go. So we've got an async definition for execute tool. But does he give an example of where it's implemented in the graph though? Okay, these are great. But what I need is... This is all based around LangChain, though. What I need to know is, can I pass an asynchronous function as a node into LangGraph? Well, let's try it. We're going to hack around and find out. Because notice how this one needs to be an async function. So, let's see what happens here. LangGraph has its own eventing loop, if I remember correctly, in the background. Oh, let's see. Okay. Here's my little diagram. All right, so what we need is our... Let's go define our browser... It's lowercase. Browser wrap node. And this is going to take in a state, which is of the type stinger state. And then what we're going to do is we're going to check the state table. So let me look at something real fast. Where is my VS code? Here we go. Actually, I don't need that. What I need is... So what we have in here is we have our task list. We also have our current task initialized right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull that out. So let's say our current task is going to be from the state, and we're going to get the current task right here. So that is our current task. And then what we're going to do is we're going to check to see what kind of task it is. So that's our list of tasks. Hey, Beacon Flow, thank you for coming online. It is a fantastic Saturday. I am so excited about this, you guys. I've been dealing with this browser issue for literally like 8 weeks. I think June 8th was when we went on this massive side quest to get the browser functioning. And the whole reason was because of this. every time I tried to get it to use any kind of command line tool, anything to handle these particular pieces, I didn't need to navigate to the site. I knew what the URL was. We can go curl the page or grep the curl the page down and find out what the upload form needs to be and whatnot. It was just not having it. The agent always wanted a browser. That's what sparked this whole big side quest. So I was like, all right, fine, we'll get you a browser. It is better in the long run because so many of these CTFs, the initial exploit vector, let's call it, is usually based on web. It's some kind of a web exploit, whether it's like doing a command injection in an API, dropping a shell, maybe doing some kind of SQL injection, things like that to change permissions. You name it, it's usually happening through a browser. So it's going to pay big dividends down the road. It's just been a long time working on this. I'm happy to be back actually in LangGraph land. All right, so let's go get our, what do we want here? Oh, man, I just noticed this shirt has a hole in it. I gotta throw this shirt away now. This shirt's probably 10 years old. This shirt's older than my children. So, hey Zen, what's up, dude? 007, but it looks like a salute, so that's what you get. All right, let's see here. So what we need to do is we need to check that task. Let me look at something in the exploit agent real fast to refresh my memory. Let's see, so here's our exploit agent. Lapse this down. I have a little bit extra real estate. All right, so for our exploit agent, what it's doing here is it's going to be checking to make sure the task actually is assigned to exploit, which actually that's really all we need right there. Perfect. If it's assigned to exploit, that'll work out perfect because then we know it's going to be an exploitation task. It's going to have speculation that's going to happen. What are we coding? Dude, this is a AI hacking bot designed to play capture the flag games. So basically hacking challenges online. It looks approximately like this right now. So this is kind of like the supervisor graph workflow. And then we've got these primary agents here that have their own workflows happening. So we've got 3 so far. We're working on number 3. One that handles recon, one that handles enumeration, and then now we're currently working on the exploitation graph right now. So what we're doing is we're building out our first specialty agent, which is going to be using a web browser. So we can send it tasks. It can actually load up a web browser using Playwright over an MCP connection and then go through and handle stuff for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to rework this loop to where we've got parallel execution here. So rather than calling a tool like a function, nmap, gobuster, you name it, what we're going to do is we're going to actually have a call to a specialty agent over here. And this jump is not going to be this hard link anymore. Notice how these ones are dash lines. It's because it can go either direction in here. This is called a conditional jump. We're going to make a conditional jump in here that if it's an actual tool call, it's going to go here. If it's a specialty agent call, then what we're going to do is we're going to have it set up over here. In fact, we can even have the specialty agent set up as a tool node in here. So, or as a function. So what we do is, because the tool node, we don't really have much control over the execution. It's just doing its own thing. But we have a conditional jump in here. It's going to come over here, and then it can invoke all those special agents we've got that aren't pictured here right now. We've got the browser functional, but now we actually have to build the graph for it. So that's what we're doing right now. Let's see. Let's come over to browser agent. So what we'll do is we're going to check to see if it is exploit. If it's an exploit task, then we're going to do exploit stuff. Let's see. Otherwise, we're going to do non-exploit stuff. I know, very descriptive. So for the exploit task, what we're going to do is we're going to get that current task, we're going to go get it, and then we're going to check the current step. So let's do our exploit stuff. So what we'll do is, actually, we already have the current task in here. Oh, just like that. Let's see here. So we'll check the current task. If that current task is actually assigned as an exploit task, then what we'll do is we're going to look inside that task, and we're going to look for this structure right here. So we're going to go to the output, and from the output, we're then going to check what our current step is. So the output holds all of our steps, and we're going to check that current step right there. Yes, that's what we're going to do. So from the current task, what we'll do is, let's do task is going to equal this right here. So that's going to be our task. Actually, let's just get our steps. Why not? Let's just go extract those. And so from our current task, we're going to index on that. We're going to grab the output. Uppercase or lowercase? Lowercase. All right. Oh, take that out. Let's see. We'll grab the output, and then from the output, we can grab the current step. So we'll grab our steps, and then we'll grab our current step. Actually, we don't even have to do that. We can actually pull that out of steps right there. Because what it's going to get is it's going to get everything in the structure. So we'll do that. We'll get the current step. Let's do that. Current step equals steps. And then we'll get the current step. What is it? There we go. We'll get this guy. Oh, come on. Copy paste is my bane. There we go. I can't remember what the structure of this is. What do we call that? That it should be. That's right. Originally we had like an exploit. Yeah, that's right. Originally we had like an exploit task, and now what we have is exploit steps. Actually, where are we writing this to the output? Let me look in the exploit agent group. Let's see. Let's find that in here. Find our output here. Let's see, there's our validator. Where is... This should be like our exploit step planner. There we go. Let's see, so do the element status is going to be equal to new. I set this up at, I think. I gotta remember this. I has to remember. So then we pull out the current task, the target IP, what our list of targets is. Exploit task is none, our index equals none. Wait, that's our step planner. We double check something real quick. Look at the exploit here. Yeah. So what's going to happen is exploit agent is first going to go to the validator to see if it has an initial access payload. If it doesn't, then it comes down to the planner. Which I think the exploit agent actually... Yep, so we're actually writing this up in exploit agent. hopefully we'll get this guy knocked out here. Let's see, task string, our context, there's our prompt. Let's see, we do our exploit suggestions in here. I gotta remember where exploit suggestions is defined. I should have given it a doc string. There it is. Oh, it's really just returning a list of strings. That's right. I remember now. So that's going to return us a list of strings when that happens. Let's see. We get our tasks from here. For each of those tasks, what we're going to do is we run it through our exploit suggestion expander. Let me go look at the definition of that. Declaration. That's right, we had that in tasking. So what it's going to do then is it's going to make a new task. Verdict will be none, current step 0. There's our steps, there's our targets. And then once that gets expanded, we'll return all that out. That's right. Yes, I remember what's happening now. It's been so long, I feel like I'm forgetting it. Yeah, so what's happening is we're first creating this task right here. And then in the output is where it's actually developing all these various steps. And then it expands these out. So basically we have it provide like a bullet point of all the tasks that we need it to do. And then we expand these into these little objects right here. Now why it says tool HTTP get, that makes no sense. We're not going to do that. Let's see. Leprechaun. What's up, man? Thank you for coming online. Welcome in. I hope you're having a fantastic Saturday. I'm having a really good Saturday. I'm happy to be back out of browser hell and into actually working on the hacking stuff. Right. Let's see here. Why is it saying that this is not correct? This should totally be correct. So from the states, index that on the current task. Get the output. Yeah, so here's our, this would be indexed on here. We have our output. Oh, I know why. It's because we need to actually go get, that's right, we need to go, that's why it's doing that. Because when we get that current task here, this is actually not going to be correct. We need to get that first element in the array. I got the pronunciation spot on. Always makes me happy, especially considering, you know, my name is Blaise. My legit name is Blaise. So anytime, and for the longest time, and still today, like I go like chop into another channel or something. They're like, "What's up, Blaise bits?" I'm like, "I'm not Blaise." It's like, come on, man. Oh, it's like, has nobody ever heard of like Blaise Pascal? See, I had a funny story about that. So my first job in high school, I worked at Home Depot. And so you got the little orange apron, you got your name on there. And my name says Blaise on there. And some dude had come into shop. And he saw that and he got really mad at me. And so this is a guy from Africa. He's like berating me. He's like, "Why you write that name on there?" He's like, just lighting me up. I'm like, dude, it's my name. Come to find out, after I calm him down and we chat for a little bit, there's some vicious dictator at the time. This was, you know, 2001 in Africa named Blaise Compaoré. I was like, I can't help it some jackass has my same name. It's not my fault. Oh, let's see. All right, so after we get our current step, this is not correct though. I remember this now. To get that output, we actually have to, we need to get the 0 element from output. So it is from our current task, we get the output and then we get the 0 element right here. Now it's lining up. That's where it's like, this doesn't exist. That's why. because I forgot output is supposed to be an array. So we get the 0 element from that, and then we can go get our current step. We've got that. Once we get the current step, we can then actually come over and get that out of here. So, actually, I'm going to change the name of this. This is going to be our step. Now, we'll leave this as current task, or current step, and then what we'll do is we're going to say, we'll call it our step task. Our step task is now going to be from our steps, and we're going to index that on current step. There we go. My father worked at Home Depot, as does my son. I was a federal IT cybersecurity specialist until Doge pushed me out of a 24-year career. Loving retired vibe coding now. What's funny is I actually don't vibe code this very much. What I do is I did a little bit for this one. There's 2 parts to this code that I did actually get AI help with. And one is we have a tooling server called RoboPages. And so I needed some help kind of getting the data from RoboPages. This is pre-MCP, by the way, but RoboPages has other benefits, so I'm not just bailing on it. It's a really great tooling server. But I needed some way to get that data in and massage it and prepare it for use with LangChain. So I did actually I think I used Grok for that one. And then for this browser agent, I'm not very good with async coding yet in Python. So I did have it help with how do I basically keep the asynchronous structure, keep certain session portions alive, so that way the browser session stays persistent. Because what was happening is every time we made a call, it was essentially initializing a new browser in a new Docker container, or even in the same Docker container, it was doing it. So once I got that sorted out earlier today, we were able to kind of move on from it. So at least, you've got that 24 years. You got your 20 in. That's a lot of career there. I've been in IT for 15 years. And not at one place. Actually, I just realized that's assuming that those years were all the same place. Dude, I'm having fun with it. I'm excited. I'm so excited. The browser is actually working. We actually did a test of the browser agent here, where we told it to, hey, go to this page and upload our web shell, right? And it was working, but the browser agent doesn't understand how to handle the error codes that are coming back. So when we integrate this over into the exploitation agent, it should get the feedback and say, oh, okay, yeah, this is what's happening. And the exploitation agent will then handle the error correction. Oh, you were a civil engineer? Dude, have you seen, what's the guy's name? His name's Grady. I forget his channel name over on YouTube. Practical Engineering, I think, is the channel name. I love his channel. Where's my... There it is. I think it's Practical Engineering Grady. Yeah, this guy. All the civil engineering stuff he talks about is fantastic. I love it. And he does a really good job explaining it. He builds really interesting demos to show the concepts. I find it super fascinating. I love this channel. You just reminded me about it, mentioning that. Let's see. Browser pet. I want to call this browser, let's call this task prep. That's what we're going to call this. Because we need to figure out what the task is for it. So... Oh wait, I'm looking at this the wrong way. That's our steps. Where's, let's see. Steps actually should be here, that's not where we're at. This is incorrect. Let's see, this is from our current task, get the output 0. Our current step is our current step. And then, yeah, this should be steps indexed on whatever the current step is. Oh wait, I know what it is. It's because we actually need to index that on steps. Why, fingers, don't fail me now. Dude, I highly recommend his channel. I'm trying to get the kids to watch it. They're a little young. My oldest son is 6. And so, but I always loved like engineering channels when I was a kid, especially like the how it's made. Those were always so great. This is from a Monty Python skit. And how do you get on with these French people? Oh yes, I like them. I mean, they think well, don't they? I mean, be fair. Blaise Pascal, right? Which I find really funny because actually I have a lot of family ties to France. My dad is from Louisiana. One of my grandmothers is from Canada. So it's like it just kind of came together from both sides of the family. Okay, so there's our current step. So from steps, actually I think I might have this incorrectly. Let's see. Oh yeah, there's our current step. So steps, and we want to get this first object right here. So oh, actually, that's why this is throwing me off. Here's our steps, actually. Let's rename this value because this is messing me up. What we want to get is our... Let's just call this our task. That is going to be our task. And then we'll get the current step. And then from our... we'll get our step task. I'm gonna change the name of this because this is gonna mess me up. Let's just call this our step index. I'm trying to keep with the same kind of naming convention to this. Let's see. So there's our step index, and then what we want to get from our task is steps. And then this right here, I need to rename this. This would be step index right here. There we go. Now we're actually following along correctly. What problem do you have with this? You should not be having a problem with this. I at least want to get this portion of the data slice set up here. I'm going to change this a bit. So here's the overall task right here. This is the whole shebang. Yeah, let's bust this out. So our task, let's take this part out. So that's our task right there. So this is the entire thing. And then what we want to do is we want to bust out the output. I'll optimize this later. I'm going to just want to get it running. Let's see. So this will be our task output. So then once we have our output and we've got the 0 element for right here, then we can get our current step. So our current step is going to be the task output. There we go. So now we're in this portion right here. There's our current step. So what we want to get is we want to get the output, steps, and index that on the current step. Okay. We're going to call this as our step right here. So actually, we're going to do this on task output. And then from task output, we'll get our steps. And then from our steps, we will get whichever one is indexed on, or we'll index that on our step index. There we go. So now where we should be is, I think you're wrong. I think you're lying to me. Expected new working. That's not correct. It's not. Let's see. We get output 0 right there. That comes back as an exploit task. Perfect. This should come back as an integer. That is not correct. Hold on. Where's our output? Where's our exploit tab? There's an exploit step. Yeah, it's right here. Current step. This is not. This is coming back as an integer right here. And then it's going to complain about this, but I don't know why it's complaining about it because that should totally. Let's see, what is this task type be here? Let's see, we have a task type, don't we? Where's our task? Here's our task. Oh, I think it's because it's supposed to be exploit task. I gotta remember, it's been so long, and these are layered pretty deep in the state table. And you might be wondering why the heck is the state table so complex? And it's done that way so we can control the context, because it's very easy to balloon your context whenever you're working with these AI agents, and then they start getting really dumb when that happens. Even with some of the newer models where you can have just a ton of context, hundreds of thousands of tokens. But by controlling it, we can also direct it, right? We can say, hey, look, here's the relevant information to you. And by keeping it tight, we can try to help avoid blind spots and other issues that can creep up as that language model context call creeps up. See here. So our task is going to be whatever our current task is. The exploit task actually should be what is stored in the output here. See, yeah, there we go. So the output should be an exploit task right here. So if we get our task indexed on the current task, so in this case it's number 5, it's going to be an exploit task. Leave that just like that. Let's see. We have pre-flight check, status agent. Take it back. That should not be an exploit task. That should be a regular task. The exploit task actually gets stored down here in the output. Right there. So this is just going to be a regular task. Yeah, import that from utils. Perfect. So now that is a task. Our task output is going to be, this is going to be the exploit task. Right here. There we go. I think it's finally tracking where we're going with this. Excellent. So this is going to be our step, and our step, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to type this also. We'll make this an exploit step. Actually, I think we did that as an output formatter. Oh, I did do it as an exploit step. Okay, perfect. Oh, I gotta import that. There we go. Perfect. So now that we have the exploit step, we're right here. Excellent. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull out the step task. What we'll do is our step task is going to be our step. Task. There we go. So So now what we can do is we can pass this over to it. All right. Let me leave a note for myself here. Let's see. We're going to say pass step task to the browser. Oh. So that's our to-do right there. All right. Let's save that. Unfortunately, that is where I've got to wrap it up for tonight. Let's see if anybody's over on InfoSec streams. Nobody's on, not even me, which is really odd. Well, the server doesn't always catch the webhooks. That's to be expected. But let's see who we might be able to raid over to. If, over on the Twitch side, you have any raid suggestions, please feel free to shout them out. Let's see, who's over in Science and Tech tonight? Let's go check it out. Who's doing fun stuff? Actually, DEF CON TV is on right now. What are they doing? Actually, yeah, I can't not do it tonight. We're gonna go raid the DEF CON channel over on Twitch, so... Copy link address. I'll drop it over into YouTube for everybody. Yeah, who we're gonna go raid over to. I can't help it. I mean, I got to. Oh, they're not taking raids, man. That's lame. Because they're doing a game show right now, like a hacker game show. I would have loved to have raid over to. Let's see. Yeah, I noticed you can't. Alright, we're gonna go find someone else. Actually, you know what? Zed's on. He's doing some fun ghost stuff. We'll go right over to him. Alright. Different raid target. Bummer. Hey Trey, what's up, dude? Question between Python and Java. Having trouble with you be able to answer. Yeah, man. I'll answer that real quick before we do the raid out. What you got? Let's see. What are primitives in Java? I really use Python. I'm having trouble with understanding the term despite my research. Dude, you had to ask. Hang on. I have not done Java programming in probably 11 years. Let me double check real fast. No, you're good, man. I gotta refresh myself. And I didn't even do a ton of Java. Well, let's see. Statically typed. I believe the primitives are the built-in data types. So like a byte, a short, an int, a long, a float. Those are your primitive data types, if I remember correctly. So those are like the base ones that you could use to build off of, essentially. So think of them as like the foundational types, and then you could expand onto that or build classes that have groups of them, things like that. Yeah. Yeah, that's what your primitive data types are. What about vanilla C? What about it? Personally, I prefer chocolate C. Yeah, no problem, Shrek. All right, guys. Unfortunately, that is where I've got to end it. It is getting late. Every minute we go past 11 o'clock Central, I incur a higher probability of wife aggro. So we'll get this going here. Everyone, y'all have a fantastic Sunday tomorrow. Spend the day with your friends and family if you can. Make it your good day. Get prepped up to go crush it on Monday. And things are happening. I think we're going to get the browser agent working tomorrow. It's happening. It's happening. I'm so excited. I can't wait to get out of this. You guys all have a fantastic night. And I want y'all to remember one very, very important thing. And that is, I love you. Peace.